What's happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we had another huge update. I know you guys could probably already tell it's going down just by that title alone. Today we're seeing things getting very dicey for the CNN host Caitlin Collins in this newest update. We got Bill Maher coming out, absolutely laying it on thick, holding her accountable, holding her feet to the fire for all of her words, not only said on CNN, but also the things she said on Stephen Colbert's late night show the other night, guys. And oh my goodness, it's almost laughable to watch her try to wiggle her way out of this one. I'm excited to get into it. So we're not straight into it. So make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Before we even get into it, guys, hit that like button, that subscribe button for you, boy. Without further ado, let's jump straight in it, guys.
You were on Stephen Colbert's show, and he said something like, you guys at CNN just report the news straight. And the crowd burst into laughter. Look, I'm on CNN now. I guess we're on it right now. I mean, they show this show the next night. I don't know how we get away with it with all but they do. And all these dirty jokes. But I'm glad, and I'm a big rooter for CNN. But that tells you a lot, doesn't it? I mean, how do you guys think you are doing in that arena of like, this is a terribly divided country. We're not only politicized, a lot of people just hate the other side. And CNN, in my view, should be the place where both sides can watch. How do you think you're doing with that?
How is CNN is the place where both sides can watch. And I think, you know,
Guys, did she really just say that? We seen Dana bash the way that she will interrupt, Caitlin Collins too, the way that they will interrupt, go to great lengths to make sure the truth does not get out of there. The censorship on CNN lets you know that any right-wing perspective cannot live over there. Come on now. She's lying off the first take. Come on.
How do you think you're doing with that?
How is CNN is the place where both sides can watch. And I think, you know, my show is evidence of that. We have lawmakers on from both parties. We'll have Elizabeth Warren on one night. We'll have Ted Cruz on another night. I think lawmakers from both parties should take questions, and you should push both of them. But on CNN being a place of credibility, I mean, look at what just happened in Chicago. We had 300 people from CNN on the ground covering that convention. There were several reporters from just our team alone on the floor, bringing it in real time to people. And I think CNN puts resources behind things and just brings a level of news that you don't get anywhere else. And I think CNN does a great job.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the people on CNN and what I know what the conservative side of America thinks, and I don't blame them. I watched Kamala's speech last night. It ended at 8:09, well, I guess 11:09 in the East. It wasn't until 11:23 till the one conservative guy, what's his name?
Scott Jennings.
This Lonely Scott, I call him.
David Urban was there too.
Wait a second. I watched from 8:09.
You see that, guys? She tries to throw in there like, well, there's right-wing perspectives too. See, it was more than Scott. Guys, there's one long wolf. That's not enough for it to say that both perspectives can live on this side, on this network. No, that's not it, guys. Listen to her.
Only Scott, I call him.
David Urban was there too.
Wait a second. I watched from 8:09 to 8:23. They was just gushing about how great a speech it was. And I think she did fine. I didn't think it was as good as they were making it out to be. But if I'm a conservative in America and I'm watching CNN, just for the straight middle of the road, that's what I hear for 15 minutes, is it's great, and then Lonely Scott. It does look, I mean, and when you see the path, it does look like tokenism. It's kind of like the same as The View. It's like it's almost better to have nobody there, like MSNBC, than to have this.
Well, I don't think you could say it's better to have nobody there and then also lament the fact that you don't think the conservative guy, Scott Jennings, who is great, and we have him on my show all the time, spoke up early enough. I think it was a Democratic convention. They turned to Democrats, people like David Axelrod, who ran.
There goes more excuse show, guys, for why they censor conservative perspectives on CNN, guys. We can see it here. Caitlin Collins still can't admit it, even though she's not on CNN right now. I mean, like, guys, they've got that much of a chokehold on her narrative. Like, come on, are you kidding me? Just tell the truth for 1 second, Caitlin.
I think it was a Democratic convention. They turned to Democrats, people like David Axelrod, who ran successful presidential Democratic campaigns first, for their analysis of this. And I don't think that you can say that CNN is anything but fair. I mean, look at that. We covered President Biden's exit from the race very closely, the pressure on him to get out. And I feel like I can speak with authority on this. I'm from Alabama. I'm from a very red state. I have a very conservative family, a lot of them who are Trump voters. They watch my show every night, and I think they know that they can trust me, that, you know, we call bullshit on every side, not just whatever leaning our audience may be. And I think that's something that people actually.
Oh my, Caitlin Collins, you do not call the balls and the strikes well for the opposing team. We already know this. We've seen it with our own 2 eyes. You don't have to try to give us this plea or say that, you know, no, we don't want to hear it, Caitlin. We can see that you don't care about what's going on the other side. You only report the good stuff that's happening on your side. And, you know, all the bad stuff is thrown down, buried. Come on, we know how you guys do on CNN.
Whatever leaning our audience may be. And I think that's something that people actually want more of, is to hear from that. I think Scott's voice is really important, but I think other voices are important to hear from. And everyone who was speaking last night, it's not like they were all Democrats. I mean, we had Dana Bash, Jake Tapper, Abby Phillip, all my amazing colleagues.
They come across
giving
that way.
Analysis.
They come across that way. In a moment like that, it was like 5-1. It always looks like 5-1. Okay, I'll move on.
It was.
Once again, I have that same reaction that I've had a million different times. These people think we're stupid, like we walk around with dunce caps. Oh, well, that explanation totally checks out, Mrs. Caitlin Collins. These are the people who are reporting the news. They're arguably the most dishonest people on the planet, maybe below Democrat prosecutors and district attorneys. Did you hear that explanation? Well, no, what a ridiculous accusation that we're biased or unfair. We have Scott Jennings. What kind of argument is that? That's the same argument that Nancy Pelosi used with her ridiculous, totally partisan, totally corrupt January 6th commission. How could our commission possibly be biased? We have Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. Now, I'm not comparing Scott Jennings to Kinzinger and Liz Cheney, of course not. He's a legitimate voice. The point is, it's tokenism. Simply a Republican token, the same thing you see on The View. I think Bill Maher was great to mention that point. These networks simply plant a token Republican who's present on the network maybe 1% of the time, and then they call themselves non-bias. That is obviously not the way it works. When your network is posting 97% anti-Trump propaganda 24/7, but then 3% of the time you let Scott Jennings speak, well then obviously that isn't balanced. You know, that's the entire point here. The news is supposed to represent how people actually feel, what people are thinking. Frankly, it's supposed to mirror the discussions that are happening in social environments between regular people. It's supposed to represent the people. Well, as we know, the people are split. Roughly 1/3 of people identify as Democrats, 1/3 as independents. And when the vote breaks down between Republican and Democrat candidates, on a national level, usually the results are roughly 50-50. The nation ideologically splits roughly 50-50. I mean, in terms of voting patterns, I'd argue there's a whole lot of crossover ideologically, but the point is, the nation's split 50-50, but CNN's news coverage is split 97-3 or 99-1. I mean, for the most part, these are just numbers that I'm conjuring up, but I'm mostly extrapolating them from studies that have been previously done throughout the first 4 years of Trump's administration, where 97% of the coverage from mainstream media sources was anti-Trump or negative towards Trump. Now, I don't know what you guys are gathering from this interaction, but I know exactly what I'm thinking. This essentially is proof that the media is a totally corrupted entity that cannot be salvaged or redeemed. There's no fixing this. No matter how rationally or fact-based the argument is, they'll deny it. But it's obviously no mystery. I mean, really, the hiring of Adam Kinzinger tells you all that you need to know. After CNN was taken over by the new ownership group, we expected a little bit of change, and some of the things that they were saying sounded like the network might be headed towards the right direction, but then of course any semblance of good faith was instantly thrown out the window the moment they hired Adam Kinzinger. I mean, they could have picked literally any other Republican, any other conservative to represent the view of those 75+ million Trump voters and conservative-minded people, but what did they do? They chose Adam Kinzinger, who happens to be the same conservative that the Democrats are parading around and putting on the DNC stage. There's no balance in their coverage, and this mainstream media machine, frankly this media virus, cannot be cured. Establishment corporate media, legacy media, in my view is one of the greatest forces of evil in the modern information age. And really that applies to both sides, because if right-wing culture was mostly predominant in media and entertainment, well, it would probably be equally as bad, just in the opposite direction. The only solution to this problem is frankly for these legacy media networks to go straight up bankrupt. corrupt and for independent media to take over. There is no fixing this. And frankly, the jig is up. They can deny it all they want, but the cat's out of the bag. The mainstream media overstepped their boundaries way too many times. Too much fake news and misinformation, and too many scandals. Trust in these networks continues to drop and hit all-time lows. It's totally deserved, and I really don't see any path towards redemption. These people will continue to lie, they'll continue to pretend as if what they're doing is journalism, when obviously they're paid mouthpieces. They're not journalists, they're regime propagandists. And the cat's out of the freaking bag.
Yo, there we have it, guys. Coming from our friend Liberal Hive. I'll definitely be sure to leave that original video link down in the description box below for those who want to go over there and check that out. Also, you guys to go over there and show our friend Liberal Hive Mind some love. Oh my goodness, guys. I told you, she couldn't even tell the truth. She was paid to do it. I mean, CNN has got to be paying her the big bucks to be covering up, pushing that narrative, painting that picture, even when she's not on their network, guys. I mean, come on. How more obvious does this have to be? You know, the legacy networks are definitely taking over or paying for these viewpoints to paint these pictures, and their hosts, all their network journalists, are not actually journalists. They're just paid to say talking points. That's it, guys. And we got Caitlin Collins here trying to beg to differ, but I mean, come on. How stupid does she think we are? We can clearly see, you know, a 6-to-1 ratio, or a 6-to-2, even if it was, you know, another guy with Scott Jennings, it still doesn't equate to this being, you know, 50-50 or equally represented. And that's exactly why CNN is going down the dumps as a network, guys. They're losing ratings. They're losing support. People just can't believe what the mainstream media is saying anymore. They're turning towards independent media outlets. They're turning towards independent journalists, free media outlets, you know, those who don't have to worry about the backing of these big corporations, because everyone knows they're corrupt. They're not allowing the truth to get out to you. There's too much censorship, and the right-wing perspectives don't live on those networks. Definitely hop in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. Do you guys see a change coming in the near future on how we digest our news? Hop in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on what direction you think that is going. Also, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you'd enjoy more content like this. I'll catch you guys on the next one. We got it.